Let's see, it's 6:52. I'll try to keep this brief, but yeah, I just wanted to tell a story, tell my story, and obviously not all of it, but just like a certain part of it that I haven't really shared with the world at large, maybe in a couple places or in a couple contexts. But yeah, hopefully this story can resonate with some people or whatever. At the end of the day, thanks for watching. This is a story about my time as a software engineer. You know, I've had a lot of different jobs in my life. Maybe in the last 10 years, I've had 11, 12 different jobs, multiple jobs at once. I worked in retail, fast food. I was a park ranger. I was a state employee at multiple different agencies doing different things. I worked for the city. I worked for Amazon. Worked at the library. Did like a moving company. Tons of stuff. And, you know, I think it was when I was 25 when I kind of looked around my city and I was like, all right, I'm 25. This year felt like really pivotal for me. And I'm looking around and I'm like, what opportunities lie in my city? And at the time, I was in a small town, semi-small, 300,000 people, but, you know, small compared to some of the larger U.S. cities. And I got to talking to the community, people who had been in certain jobs longer than I was, and I asked them, I was like, hey, how's it going here? And, you know, they said, I came to find out that at the time in Oregon, the largest employer was the government, you know, so the state. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Talked to more state employees, and I was like, oh, so how often do promotions come about? What does career look like here? And a lot of the time, depending on which organization, these people, basically a new position wouldn't open up until someone either retired or died. And I thought, gee, that's slim pickings. And I'm not trying to wait forever just to move up the economic social ladder because your boy is tired of being broke. So I was like, all right, let me look into the private sector and what can I do there? And I thought, all right, well, I don't necessarily want to go back to school and spend all this money. And, you know, this was in 2020. So I ended up leaving my job, living at home with my mom, selling plasma to help pay for rent and just pay for my day-to-day expenses. And I was fortunate enough to go to a coding boot camp. So I learned software development for like 6 months. I did an internship and then I got a job. And then I did that job as a contractor for about a year. And then I got another job. And the other job is the one that required me to move to a different state. And it's been super cool. It's been a really great experience being able to make that. And, you know, you think like, this is someone who didn't come from much, didn't have very many great economic opportunities growing up, is a son of a single mother. And, you know, a lot of people think like that in itself is an amazing story. Like, good for you. You brought yourself up by your bootstraps, which I think is a terrible saying, by the way, because some people don't even have them boots that they're talking about, you know? Like, people really do need help out here. And I'm really proud of everything I've done, but one, I couldn't do it without others. You know, it was definitely like talking to people in the community, connections. Maybe that helped me get a job interview here. Maybe that was like a connection there. Like, I know for a number of my jobs, it had to do with that. Like, I knew someone and they were able to help me get my foot in the door. You know, I'm not the smartest person by any means. And I've worked really hard at every job I've had. And it's been an awesome experience, you know. But I remember there was like one day at my job as a software engineer, and I'm sitting at my desk, and I'd worked so hard for this, to have the opportunity to have economic stability, to not worry about like my next meal. I'm like, oh, I'm good. I got money coming in. I can take care of myself. And that's a huge blessing in itself. And I remember sitting at my desk and thinking, like, now what? Like, this is it? Like, I'm just here? Like, this is it? And I don't say this to sound ungrateful by any means. I just was really thinking naively that this work would have given me a lot more purpose than I had anticipated. And I see that with like less and less people being involved in groups, communities, clubs. So many of us are looking for purpose and fulfillment throughout our careers and our work, and that just doesn't happen easily. And I don't think it's necessarily even the best place to look for it, because like at the end of the day, it's a job. You work for a company and they make money, and if they don't make money, you're pretty much expendable. Like if you cost a lot of money to hire, unless they absolutely need you for whatever reason, you're probably going to get fired. And that's been proven in this world over the last number of years. There's been tons of tech layoffs and layoffs in the federal government and a ton of different industries. And that just leaves so many people disheartened. And I don't know, I think I came to the realization that that now what? I need to listen to it. I need to think about it more and talk about it. And there's this thing called the hedonic treadmill where, you get used to a certain lifestyle or a certain way of life. Like at first, let's say, for example, you get a new car and the car feels really great. You're like, oh, this is awesome, my new ride. And then after like a couple of months, that awesomeness, like it's still there, but it kind of wears off. And then you're just like, whatever, just going to work, but still in a nicer car, but it's not as awesome. It doesn't feel that way. And so then we start to move the goalpost over and over and over. Maybe that's a higher salary for some people. Maybe that's a promotion, whatever. And for me, I think I came to realize that I'm like, dang, this is cool. And like I made it, quote unquote made it. I reached the goal that I was aiming for, but it definitely didn't fulfill a lot of what I still crave in life, And that's like creating, making things, connecting with people, talking with people. And it's like an interesting thing to like realize. I remember I had one friend before I even started down this route where I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna like learn how to code. And they were like, oh yeah, but what about your art? Like, aren't you gonna miss that? What about the creativity? And I like fully convinced myself. I was like, oh no, like coding can still be creative, like think about these like really cool, pretty websites that like they do all these effects and stuff. Like I can do that, And it's true. I could do that for my own website, but when you're working for a company, it's like different. You don't have as much creative freedom as you would like to think. And I've been given a lot at my current position, but I know that like for some things they're like, nah, dude, you can't do that. We want you to work on this. And it's just kind of like further reiterated to me that I'm like, hey, I need to focus on the things that I enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis. And don't get me wrong, like, yes, I like to code. I think it's cool to build things from scratch, but I'm not necessarily in love with maintaining all the code, sifting through other people's code. So I don't know. It's a whirlwind and a lot of work to come to realize that like, hey, maybe this isn't 100% for me, and maybe I might pivot into something else. And I'm not afraid of doing that because I've made so many pivots in the past. So if you're in a similar position, I'd say like, hey, go for it. I mean, try to make a calculated risk, but go for it. Don't be afraid of trying things, because the time's going to go by anyway. So hopefully you just try things, and if you fail, then that's cool, because you can like learn from it and then try more things. But yeah, it was a real trip to just kind of sit there and be like, damn, this doesn't feel as dope as I thought it would. And that's okay, you know? It was just like a bit of a reality check, and I'm still thankful that I've been able to make it this far, because I've learned a lot along the way. And I don't know, I'm excited to see what I get into and what I make. Maybe it's more videos, maybe it's more photography, maybe it's paintings, screen prints. I don't know yet, you know. I got some ideas, and I'm sure I'll share them with y'all. But yeah, I guess thanks for listening to the story. And two, like, if you find yourself in a similar position where maybe you feel like you got some golden handcuffs and you're not really vibing with what you're doing on the day to day, I really encourage you to just like do whatever you can to make more time for you to do the things that you do enjoy, that like you would be doing anyway, whether or not someone paid you. You know, I think about YouTube. Like, I've been making videos since I was like 11 or 12, like on and off videos of friends on like an old GoPro, on an old tiny like digital Sony camera or Canon camera similar to this. Like, I've done it for a hot minute now. I love editing. I love putting it together. I love framing the shot. Like, that's something that no one's ever paid me to do, and I've always done it, or at least for a really long time. So I'm now realizing it's like, oh, I should listen to that. Like, that's really important. And I'm just trying to like keep listening to the things that like I am doing, whether someone pays me or not. So yeah, I hope you can do the same, whether that's playing the guitar and reading. I don't know. The world's crazy. We can do whatever the hell we want, you know? But I just really want you to do the things that you like doing, because I have been neglecting that like inner child and these cravings, these desires for a while now, just for the sake of a stable job and income, you know? And I mean, you can't blame me. Like, it's nice to have money. It's nice to be able to feed yourself and pay for rent and shit. It sucks having to struggle and live paycheck to paycheck all the time for so long, you know? But yeah, if you have the opportunity to like do both, go for it. If you have to give up one for a little bit, like I did, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna chase some money so I can have that stability, so I can focus on building more things on the side. I don't know. Now I think I'm at a point where I'm just rambling, but I don't know. I might cut this, but yeah, just do the shit you love. And thanks so much for hanging out. All right, see you guys.